Welcome to American Exceptionalism on New Right Network with your hosts, Kevin Fobbs and Susan Swift. Get ready to transform your life and have the doors of make believe media blown away with an hour packed with American exceptionalism founded by faith and fire as we counter liberal political persecution and preach the political gospel while we explore the coming American resurrection. Your voices will be heard. Silence is betrayal. Welcome to American Exceptionalism. And we have an exciting guest today, Dylan Wheeler, founder of Educating Liberals. And I'm going to tell you, when you talk with and listen to Dylan, you are going to be amazed at what he's done and how Americans, especially young people, are reacting to Dylan. And of course, myself and Susan Swift. So again, welcome to American Exceptionalism.
Hi, Kevin. This is going to be very fun. I read a little bit about him, and I'm just this is the next generation. These are the millennials who are going to be obviously taking the reins and hopefully driving hard right and saving our country. So this is going to be cool.
Well, you know what? I'm pretty sure, Dylan, that you're more than hard right.
I'm radical right, extreme right. Talking about But I'm a constitutional conservative. You know, the principles that our country was founded on, but that's somehow really hard right to them now. So it says a lot about where they stand.
Well, yeah, you know, I like to say that I'm so far right, I've been left behind because my party has, I mean, the Republicans, they're squishies. I mean, most of them have just kind of, they're not a lot of conservatives who are also Republicans. I know we do have the ones who are really good and conservative.
Why is there no extreme left? Where's the extreme left when that's really what
they're trying to find it? Look, they're pushing ahead. They've got Kamala Harris now and Dianne Feinstein. She's not liberal enough. They're going to throw her over. First, she's old.
They're communists.
And she's not liberal enough. So they're going to get rid of her. We got Kamala Harris, and they're going to keep going until they've gone all the way around the globe back into Red Square in China. In China, those are the two places, right? It'll be Russia and China. That'll be left enough, right?
Yeah, maybe. It still might not be left enough for them. Who knows?
We'll have to talk to George Soros about that because he wants bankrolling all of this.
I don't think there's a point of radicalism that they can't reach or can reach. They're just going to keep trying, making it more radical. Once they get their radicalness, if they got their ideas completed, they'd be like, we want more. It's got to be more radical.
More power. I have to have it all.
So they extinguish all the Nazis, all right, Nazis. Everyone that's on the right is a Nazi now, and they must be gone.
That's the weird thing. The left is what the Nazis are. That's the left, the National Socialist Party from Germany. That was the Nazis.
I don't see any Nazis in America. I don't see anybody hanging black people from trees. The people that consider themselves Nazis aren't the real Nazis of the old days, like actually killing people. And that stat is like 5,000 or less in America. So the left likes to make up a boogeyman, you know, that really doesn't exist. And of course, the media puts the spotlight on there, so then it makes that boogeyman more realistic to them.
Exactly.
Of course.
Now, Dylan, can you tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what you got involved in terms of going to, and taking on liberalism and its impact on politics in America?
Yeah, so my name's Dylan Wheeler from Brainerd, Minnesota. Graduated from Brainerd High School, went to Concordia College for a couple years, which is actually a really extreme liberal school, but I was never really into politics. I was into sports and chasing women and having fun. And
all-American boy.
Yeah, and I didn't really, but I was like just going there for a while, and like this school costs $40,000, $50,000 a year for tuition. It's like, wow. So by the time I get out and I still won't know what I'm doing, I'm gonna be $100,000 in debt. Like that doesn't make a lot of sense. At the same time, I started looking into. I saw a 9/11 video, and wow, like I go down this rabbit hole for a minute. I'm just gonna say there's some valid questions that weren't being answered. So that's what sparked my curiosity. I started looking a little more into politics. Still wasn't super political at this point, dropped out of college. I should say, football. Football is the reason why I went to college in the first place, because I love to play football. And dropped out, started becoming a real estate appraiser like my dad does, because, you know, I saw he was financially set up nicely. I wanted that financial freedom. And that financial freedom and free time allowed me to start looking into politics more. So, and I had a tough journey too. Like when I woke up to basically Christ and whatnot, and woke up seeing what the evil that the left was doing in this country, I had a rude awakening, a really rude awakening, because I was atheist at that point. You know, I thought God was a joke. I laughed at God all the time. You know, the thought of God, anyone that believed in God, I thought less of. So I had a radical awakening to that. I spent many months in hospitals, behavioral hospitals, mental hospitals. Over 13 months of my life I spent committed in hospitals, you know, because I was going through such a crazy awakening. But looking back on it, I know that God was taking me through this. I had to learn, you know, that God is real, and he might have really big plans for you. So I was like, okay.
Don't tell that to anybody at the Emmys, because, you know, the only they don't believe in God over there at the Emmys. They only send with people who are, you know, are whites and conservatives. They're, you know, they're so lost.
They're in for the biggest, rudest awakening of all people. Let's just say that. But I'm glad that I found God, or God found me. No, I found God. Who knows? Either way, we know each other now.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
He always knew you, Dylan. He always knew
that's
you.
true. That's true. You know, so yeah, then I started, then obviously we get closer to the election time. I even made this one tweet. It was in 2015, before Trump ever said he was running, because I was so down the rabbit hole on understanding what evil intentions Obama had for America. All this, like, I just saw all the darkness. I saw no hope. I was like, wow, there will be concentration camps. People like me, political dissidents, will be going to these camps. You know, I knew everything about that. FEMA buying hollow point bullets. Probably sound like the craziest conspiracy.
Well, we already have those concentration camps. They're called higher education. You were already in one.
Yep. Basically, I was just sucked down the rabbit hole of darkness. I didn't see the light yet. You know, like, this was even like before I had my faith in God even. I saw the darkness, and that was scary. I couldn't take on that darkness without having the light in me. So that's kind of what made me go, like, mental, you could say. So yeah, I had a very rude awakening. And then like I was saying, the campaigns, before Trump's campaign started, I made a tweet that was like, guys, anyone that, like, I was for Rand Paul at this point, and I said, anyone that votes for Hillary Clinton, like, I don't think I can be friends with you. Like, yeah. I'm a really tolerant person too, but it was just like, I knew what their plan was, and it was not good. So yeah, so I've always been, then Trump came along, and I was like, wow, here's someone who gets it. Like, where'd this guy come from? I should say in 2012, I voted for Ron Paul, Rand Paul's dad, you know, big libertarian, constitutionalist. So I didn't vote for Barack when I was 20. You know, I was past that stage of brainwash. You know,
thanks be to God.
Came out of that.
Yeah.
And then Trump comes along, just kicking these guys' butts. It's like, wow.
And laughing all the way.
Yeah, I'm like, here's a guy I can get behind that I'm going to get behind. So of course I make my statements on Facebook, all over social media, and everyone's like, oh, well, this crazy guy Dylan's speaking out again. You know, oh, and now he likes the Nazi supporter. You know, the racist, the sexist. So, you know, I'm fighting that battle on every one of my Facebook posts with my friends, jumping in on other posts, you know, with facts, logic, how this is going to be a good thing for America.
Right.
Say something negative and then get 15 up likes. Someone would slander me with an insult, and that would get up liked. No one would even take my side. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, this doesn't make any sense. So
we're doing battle with liberals, and they're not educated. So.
I realized how uneducated they were. So then I went over to Twitter, because my friend Devin was like, dude, I don't know why you waste your time and energy with those people who are never going to get it or don't want to get it. And he's like, you're right. And I actually my Facebook friends list went from about 1,250 down to like 150.
Whoa.
Take out the trash. It was toxic to my well-being.
Yeah.
We all feel like that.
Yeah, it's the most liberating thing I think I've ever done. I don't care. I really don't care what you guys think anymore. So yeah, I'm just gonna be me. And then I went over to Twitter, and he's like, dude, like, it's so funny. You just provoke these guys. And he was doing it to get a reaction and whatever, because liberals are so emotional that he could tease them and whatever. And I got on there. He's like, just make a burner account or something. And he was the libologist. He was diagnosing liberals. And then I jumped on. I'm like, gosh, what should my name be then? It's got to be something. And I'm like, what do these people need? I was like, education. Okay, educating liberals. Literally thought of it within 10 seconds. Made my name Education for Libs on there and started going to town. And I think my first tweet ever was a picture of 50 Cent, and it said, if I had a quarter for every gender there was. It was it was so funny. So my Twitter game's come a long way since then. But I realized, like, all of a sudden I would like kind of battle some of these people with logic and facts and truth and whatnot, reasoning. And a lot of conservatives were on there that started liking my posts and started following me. I'm like, wow, this is like kind of getting big, like kind of growing pretty fast. And then I started putting more time into it, researching, getting more into politics, understanding everything about politics. And then, yeah, now I'm crafting these tweets that are like mini articles within 280 characters. It's crazy how hard writing
That's
game.
an art form, actually. That's really good.
It is an art form for sure. So, yeah, I guess that's my start.
Brevity is the soul of wit.
Yes, I love that. Yeah.
Well,
I didn't make it up.
Susan, you're a genius.
That was a plagiarist. You have to
Susan Swift at the bottom.
I just don't remember who said it.
With several question marks. You know what's fascinating too, Dylan, is that I came across your Twitter account it was probably about last year, because your Facebook account I had been following actually, for well, whenever you put it up, I saw it. But the Twitter account, what I find fascinating is just not just how many people you have about 330,000 people that follow you, but it also is so impactful because you really do, like you said, put down and just brevity, but you actually really zero in on so many important points for people, conservatives, even those who are in the middle, who just need to be, quote, educated, end quote.
Yeah. Well, fake news is definitely enemy number one for me. So anything I put out, I do not want it to be fake news. I can't just run on emotion. Like something happens, there's a shooting, I have to get the facts straight before I say anything. Right. I think I've screwed up twice in over 6,800 tweets. And the one time I did screw up, it was in Yahoo, it was in Huffington Post, and all that stuff. New York Times, they all called me.
What'd you do? What'd you do screw up? What was the screw up?
I called the Parkland shooter an Antifa member, and then I told them to rot in hell. So that was emotion based, It was like I wanted to get the break while it was hot, and get the likes and whatnot. And that's the one time I slipped. Can't remember what the other one was, but each time I put out a correction right away.
Yeah.
So, by the time
they don't care about that. You don't get to correct yourself. You're already wrong because you're already conservative. That makes you wrong. It doesn't, and so it doesn't even matter what they want. Anything that is true that you say, they want to suppress because they don't want you to be heard. And any mistake that you make, they will only use to further tear you down and make you seem to be not knowing what you're talking about.
I'm not allowed to have any human error or flaws.
No, of course not. Of course not.
And then I retracted, or I think I retracted it and made a statement saying, okay, that was false, guys. I apologize. I pride myself on telling the truth. So by the time that everyone was reading these articles and people were flooding to my account that they tagged it in, that tweet was gone and you already saw the correction statement. So I gained a whole bunch of followers from that, actually. So, thanks.
Thanks, liberals.
Thanks, fake news. Did it again.
How did you? So now you've now started, your own website, right?
We started a website months ago. We just started selling some silicone wristbands and lanyards, bumper stickers, and we could make decent money off that too. But we're so wrapped up into tweeting and getting the truth out. We don't have time or the help to do a website. We're not in it for the money right now. Like we're in it for the message, and we got to win these midterms in November. That's all we care about.
Yeah.
That's all we care about.
Because what do you think will happen if the liberals start retaking, some of the House and the Senate? What do you think is going to happen?
It's not going to happen.
There you go.
It's not. But if we had to theoretically go down that rabbit hole, I don't even think I can get down there, but it's not going to happen. I'm that confident.
I think so too. I don't think there's going to be a blue wave. I think that's all just sales pitch for all of
There's going to be a red tsunami coming in November.
Yeah.
Bigger than Florence.
As Nancy Pelosi would say, take it to the bank.
Right. What's another fascinating part about what educating liberals is all about, from my perspective, is how you are able to, again, like I said, zero in, Dylan, And one of the issues that you have talked about is identity politics. How is that affecting Americans? And actually, how would you describe identity politics?
In one word, cancer. Cancer.
Love it.
It's terrible. It's cancer.
It's brain cancer. It's brain cancer.
Yes, there you go. More specifically, brain cancer. Yep.
Well, that's what liberalism is, I think.
Identity politics boils down to collectivism versus individualism. Where everyone's blanketed under the same group together, same race, same religion, same whatnot. There's no room to really be yourself. So let's say all black people get lumped into some category, and they're almost stereotyped like that. Black people aren't allowed to be Republicans or conservatives. Gay people aren't allowed to be conservatives or like Trump. That's identity politics. And when you group yourself together like that, it's dangerous, and it's I don't know, it's hard to describe it, but individualism is where I go to.
Yeah.
Well, I think Star Trek actually kind of describes it. One of the series, I think, in terms of the Borg.
The Borg, yes, the collective. Yeah.
The collective. That's how I look at identity politics. It
shifts the responsibility too from individualism to collectivism too. That's why you get in a group. I could be the only conservative around 1,000 liberals, and I could say the truth, and not one of them would be able to say anything. They would deflect to each other, just kind of looking around like, well, who's got this one? Who's got this? Like, individualism, collectivism.
Well, I call that, I actually have a brand name for it, which is, homoculturalism. Those are the really militant activists who they insist on all the LGBT thing, but for the purpose of politicizing it and creating one great collectivist, tolerant, inclusive, all of those buzzwords, but that's what it is. It's collectivism, and I call it homoculturalism. And I resent it because we can't be individual.
My favorite is when you walk up to a group of liberals, say they're protesting and whatnot, and you're like, what are you protesting? And they're like, well, he's a racist. I'm like, okay, you have an example? Or, no, the economy sucks. And you hit them with 3 facts. Yeah. And it's like, oh, they start looking around like, who's going to take this guy on? This is too much cognitive dissonance for me to handle right now. And when they say he's a Nazi or they say he's a racist, and it's like, well, do you have any proof? And then they give the classic, well, dude, you know what I'm talking about. Come on.
I actually
so obvious. Why don't you just tell me then if it's so obvious? Like, oh, I shouldn't have to. So funny.
So there, Dylan.
That's exactly what's happening right now on this confirmation hearing. Well, they've been suspended for Kavanaugh, and this chick, Professor Catherine Ford, she's coming up. Her attorney has just set her last name's Katz. She's paid for by George Soros, by the way. She's come out and said, well, my client doesn't have to come up and testify. The investigators should follow up. She doesn't have to testify to that. So that essentially liberals can throw out anything they want to say. 30 years ago, he raped me, whatever it is, right? They can throw it out there. And they don't have to back it up. They don't even have to put their hand on a Bible. That would probably burn their hands on the Bible. They don't have to put their hand on a Bible and actually testify in front of people. They can just throw the accusation like a Molotov cocktail into the hearing, and then they expect the government to investigate, which means months and months and months of tearing somebody's life apart. That's what's going on.
And it's becoming so crazy too, because you have Keith Ellison in my home state running for Attorney General here, and there's police records of abuse, literally police records, and Democrats just silent, crickets.
Yeah.
You can make up something 35 years ago where you don't know where it was at, what really happened, but no, let's focus on
you know what? She could have been drunk and she might not even remember who he was. Yeah. Could have been a different guy.
And why they wait till the very, very last minute on this?
That's because
this is their last desperation card. That's all they have, and it's not going to work.
Feinstein held it. She had it way back, months ago, but she held it till now because they know that he's going to get through. And I think they're putting pressure on the 2, squishy rhinos, which would be Murkowski and Susan Collins. Yeah. Those are the ones that they're going to because they're women. And of course, as we've learned from Clarence Thomas, do you remember even that? Or you're probably too young for Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill. Clarence Thomas was the Supreme Court Justice nominee at the time. And Anita Hill was a woman who purportedly had worked with him. And she accused him of making off-color, no pun intended, sorry, they're both African-American, but she accused him of making off-color remarks about a pubic hair in a Coke or something like that. I mean, it's just, no, I'm not even kidding. It was dead serious. And
Yeah.
Wow.
The thing was, it was all about the seriousness of the charge. We must investigate because it's the seriousness of the charge that matters, because she's a woman and she might have been sexually assaulted or insulted or whatever it was. It was all about the nature of the charge. It had nothing to do with the evidence.
Right. And here's the thing. It was brought up, just like in this case, at the last minute.
To derail.
To derail it.
And it was a political lynching.
They tried it to Trump too during the election, and it didn't work either.
Yeah,
but,
they tried to pull out that tape.
No, the rats have been scurrying. They're scurrying fast. They know their time's almost up. It's actually hilarious to watch. But the hammer's going to drop soon. Let's just say that.
What do you think's going to happen? Tell us.
Oh, people are going to prison. Definitely.
You think? Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we going to get Hillary? I want to see her in an orange pantsuit so bad.
Yeah, with stripes on orange.
Orange with a terrible number on there. That's what I want. I want the orange, and that'll become the new fashion statement, is the orange jumpsuits with it'll be like tattoos. You just put that on your thing. What do you think?
There's certainly panic in DC right now with the declassification of the FISA.
Oh right, yeah.
So that's that's what's gonna topple the house of cards, in my opinion.
I hope so.
These games have been going on for a long, long time with the Democrats, and we got them trapped. We got them trapped this time.
Born before I was born. Even before you were born, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin's ancient. Just kidding.
Well, I mean, how do you combat that one thing? The one thing about millennials, and it's typical of any generation. You guys think that typically think that nothing happened before you were born. How do you educate your own age group on American history and what has gone on, and political history in the back? What do you do through your Twitter account, or how do you reach people? Because they do tend to think that, they've now just arrived and history started on the day of their birth. What do you do to kind of help,
Yeah, it's super hard because we're dealing with basically cultural crack babies who have known social media pretty much their whole lives at this point. Yeah. And when there's this much misinformation going on, they don't really know what to believe. And they're young children whose brains haven't developed yet, so they're easily influenced by this stuff. And looking up to celebrities who act like total a-holes and whatnot, and put the wrong message out there. So it's hard. We need.
Who would you be referring to on that?
Oh, pretty much all of them. So yeah, it's tricky. It's hard to find that balance and find the ways to. You basically have to boil it down to like using humor at times.
Yeah,
humor sticks, and that's awesome about the meme war that's going on. These kids can learn things through memes, and the left, because they're such liars and whatnot, there's always truth in comedy. There's no truth in their memes, so they're not funny. That's why everyone shares right-wing memes, because it's based around what's happening. It's the truth, and it's hilarious.
It would probably trigger Saul Alinsky bad. It would trigger him hard to
it's happening in Europe. Europe passed that Article 13 where they're trying to ban memes, make them intellectual property.
Saw that.
And now people are getting around it because they'll just take the meme and put a little check mark on it, and it's fine to get right around the thing. Or they pixelate the meme. The popular memes get pixelated, and they're even better. They've come back to life. The memes are 10 times better. It's hilarious. You can't stop the meme soldiers. The meme soldiers are who are winning this war. I'm not kidding.
I love that.
I like that.
I get a lot of my ideas. I get a lot of my ideas that I shared, like the bullet points, the common sense logic from memes. I'll see a meme like, wow, there's so much truth behind that, and then put it into my own words. So shout out to everyone making memes out there.
Hey, that's what I do. I do a lot of that. I'll send. Well, you don't have a lot of Facebook people. I do a bunch of Facebook because of me. That. And also, well, I can drop some over on Twitter.
And I would just drop the meme straight up on Twitter or Facebook, but I've noticed the engagement isn't there with it. When it's written in words, whether I'm getting credit for it or not, or whoever's getting credit for it, it does way better. The message goes way tenfold. I'll put out a meme out there, maybe get 1,000 likes, put it into words, and even make the meme a little better, add another idea or two to it, and it'll get over 10,000 likes. So at this point, and people have told me, I talked to people at the convention I was at last week, they're like, dude, I steal your stuff all the time, man. Like, I just had to let you know. I'm like, I don't care. Like, we're all together, you know?
Yeah.
Right now, it's about the message. It's not about the credit at all.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you sound like Ronald Reagan. He said a very similar thing, which is, you know, if you don't mind who gets the credit, you can do anything. That's a paraphrase, but yeah, Ronald Reagan said it.
Yep. I care about the message.
And you know what? And Dylan said it second.
That's right.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan, and then Dylan Wheeler underneath.
Ronald Reagan.
And Susan Swift for telling me.
No, that was just mom reminding you. That was mom reminding you. You know, Dylan, Ronald Reagan did it first. That was
It isn't good. I'm gonna be quoting all this all the time, and I'm forgetting who said it. It's just be like Susan Swift. This is
right. Yeah, I do this to my kids all the time, and they're like, "Okay, thanks, mom." Yeah.
They'll be like, I'll say something like that, and be like, "Wow, that was profound." I'll be like, "Yeah, Susan Swift said it." The guy comes across later as Ronald Reagan.
Who's Ronald Reagan, right? Yeah. Oh man.
You know what kind of challenges do you feel that voters, especially young voters today, are encountering in being able to understand issues that impact on them?
Well, they're probably just like I was, single issue voters. You know, one thing decides their whole mind. So, like for me, growing up through college, I wanted weed legalized 100%. So whoever's gonna do that, that was my dude. You know, I didn't look at anything. I didn't own any property, you know, I wasn't really paying any big bills, you know, I didn't understand taxes, you know.
Right. Or you weren't paying any because you weren't earning any money, so what do you care, right?
Cool, just having a good time, like, geez, this stuff should be legalized.
Right. Somebody's gonna pay me for college anyway, dude, that's what I want, right? Free phone too.
You get a little older and you realize all the taxes that are being taken on, and your government's screwing you over, and all of a sudden there's more than one issue to vote on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, they're not really screwing you over. They're just taking all of your money and giving it to kids in college who aren't earning.
Yes.
We love you guys and we want you to get educated, but please, can't you pay some of your own way? You can.
We're paying for their concentration camps, brainwashing camps.
Exactly. Higher education. And you know, and you also know, and you've seen this, because the whole education cycle, the middleman is the government. Nobody's responsible. It's like medicine. When you go to a hospital and you have to pay $12 for a Tylenol, it's because nobody's checking the bill. Nobody's paying the bill. The government just keeps writing the checks to the education camps, right? And so they keep jacking their fees up, and it's $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 because I'm going to turn out some good liberal voters to vote for you so that you can raise more taxes. That's the government. That's the shuffle steps. The stuff, shuffleball changes. Tap dance all the way to Washington. And then at the end of the day, you have $100,000 in debt. You don't want to get married because a wife's expensive. And then you don't want to have kids because, oh my gosh, that costs even more money, right? And so what happens? All of these responsible, kind of fairly educated American youth, they don't have any babies, they don't reproduce, and guess what? We have a smaller population to control and manage. Yeah. No, school's teaching these kids to be just pretty much obedient workers that don't question anything that's happening. And George Carlin, I know he wasn't very religious or whatnot, but he made a good point. You know, obedient workers, just smart enough to run the machines, but not smart enough to question, you know, their government or their job or anything like that. You know, and they think they're doing amazing in life. They go to their 9 to 5, they work so hard. All of a sudden, they have a parking spot with their name on it, and they think they've made it. That's right. It's insane. And they're just the little worker bees who are just skilled enough to fix the drones and the artificial intelligence that's coming along, right? We'll just have the workers who create the master computer race, if you will, who are programmed by, you know, the liberal controllers. And pretty soon we're at that society. You get it, don't you? I think there's going to be awakening before we get to that point, though. I do. I'm not worried about that. Those are all the thoughts that, you know, make me, you know, be mentally crazy, I guess. Another thing about being crazy, having a mental illness, because I'm diagnosed with bipolar. So one thing that is a common misconception is you go to a mental hospital, people think you're stupid because you're crazy, when that's not it at all. Having a mental illness has nothing to do with your intelligence. Correct. In fact, a lot of highly intelligent people are struggling with bipolarism and stuff. It tends to be on that spectrum. The two are kind of more closely linked. Actually, higher intelligence. And not to get too spiritual or whatnot, but we still live in a fallen world, and that's why I have anxiety. You know, I see what's going on.
And I think we're going to get to a point where, you know, God and Jesus, they've got enough. Jesus is coming back, and
Yeah,
you
you're right.
got to be there to help them heal. There's going to be a rude awakening for a lot of people coming up. And I think it's coming really soon.
It only matters where we stand when the trumpet's blowing. That's it. It doesn't matter, because we know how it works in this plane. So when the trumpet blows, it'll be, what side were you on?
Yeah, and have, you know, study scripture. Scripture is what takes my anxiety away. You know, it says to have oil in your lamps ready. That means if the grid did go down, something happened, you should have a ration of food. You should be smart. It says that people will come up to you and ask for the oil in your lamp. You see, you weren't paying attention. If we give you our oil, then our lamps go out. So we're going to get to that point at some point.
Right.
And that's a scary thought for a lot of people. End times is a very, very scary thought. It's not to me because it's, you know, purging the world of evil. That's awesome.
It may be a reference to the spiritual end times. It may not be physical.
Exactly.
And when you're saying sharing your oil, the reason why you have to retain the oil is to keep the lamp burning, and the lamp, the light, is intelligence. You can share your light. You can share your light with the world, but if you've given your oil away, then the light goes out, and that there might be a whole different meaning there. So keep your light burning, as it not worry so much about the physical. It might be much more spiritual and intelligent and intellectual. That kind of thing. You know what? You know who you remind me of? You remind me of Andrew Breitbart.
Really?
Yes, you do.
Quite a name to be mentioned with. Yeah.
No. He thought outside the box, and he was very much a conservative radical and brilliant that way. And I think I've met the next Andrew Breitbart, or I've met the original Dylan Wheeler, of course, Sue, but very much.
Or he wasn't afraid to speak his mind. You know, that's what I respect about him. A lot of people say that about me too. They're like, "Aren't you scared? Like repercussions? You start speaking out. Bad guys want to do bad things to you." It's like, why aren't you scared? It's like, because I'm not afraid to die. I'm not. You know, I have nothing to lose. You know, I know that God's real. I know where my soul is going. So there's nothing to worry about.
You know what's important too, Dylan, is that the Reverend Martin Luther King said, "If you have nothing to die for, you have nothing to live for."
That's amazing. I agree 100%. I know what he's saying. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that's important.
He says, "I'm not afraid to die right now. That's not what matters." You know, and he was holding the lamp for everybody else.
Right. Exactly.
But just stay away from Hillary Clinton, because, you know, she's got a whole trail of dead bodies. I'm just saying.
I make disclaimers. Every time I come on an interview, it's like, you know, because I have a past where I did try to commit suicide. So, you know, Hillary and Soros are thinking, God, we could frame this kid pretty easy, you know, and just he'll wake up one morning and there'll be pills everywhere, and he OD'd, you know. You don't even have to have the 2 bullets to the back of the head like every one of Clinton's victims. But so that's why I say,
like that guy
I'm feeling good right now. That's why I say in every interview.
The wallet wasn't stolen, nothing. He was robbed, but nothing was taken. That guy, like that.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I just make a disclaimer. I feel great, feeling healthy. I love life. I love myself. I'm feeling very positive. If anything did happen to me, maybe check into it a little bit.
A lot.
That's scary.
But that's a disclaimer too, because these people out here, these swamp rats, these elite, the bad people, I know they watch everything I do. Like, I'm real about things.
Yeah.
If they did kill me, take me off the map, whatever, that's fine. But it's going to put a spotlight onto everything I've ever done on social media. And I've called them out many, many times for this. So I would go down as a martyr, and my words would be magnified 100 times, 1,000 times maybe. So they know they can't do that. They would rather silence me in other ways.
Right.
Like, that's why I just got a Twitter timeout.
Oh yeah.
Another one?
No, well, this was a 7-day suspension, but.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about that, Dylan?
Okay. Let's see if I can remember off the top of my head. I made a tweet that said 25% of Black people are not graduating high school, which was a fact. I said that 1 or 73% of Black children are growing up without a father, which is a fact. I said the abortion rate in New York City is higher than the rate of being born, which is a fact. And I said 90% of Black homicide is caused by other Blacks, which is a fact. These were all facts. And then at the end of it, I said, but liberals think it's white supremacy, ? And then, that didn't get me suspended, though. That didn't get me suspended. Someone goes, what would you do, smarty pants? And I rarely reply to anything, but I was like, oh, this is so obvious what you would say. I was like, I would encourage Black people to stay in school, wait until marriage to have kids, and to stop killing each other. That's what I said, and that got me 7 days. That was the tweet I got reported on.
Thrown in Twitter jail. Now you're in Twitter jail for 7 days.
Too much truth, common sense, logic. How else would you respond to that even? I don't know. just, I don't know.
I mean,
I would have said vote Republican.
Yeah, it was cited as hate speech. I was like, I'm saying those facts because I'm trying to shed a light for the Black community, like saying, like, who are predominantly controlled by Democrats, vote Democrat. I'm like, there's obviously things going wrong here. Like, maybe we should look into these problems. You know, I'm trying to shed a light because I do care about people. I care about all people, especially the Black community. So, like, and they have it the hardest.
You know, what's fascinating too, Dylan, is that when I found out about that, because I saw a tweet actually from someone else, and then I saw something on YouTube referring to the Twitter suspension, and I just find that like unbelievable. That like what Susan and I have been talking about, what white people can't say.
That's right. Yeah.
It's
Where's
scary.
my white privilege at? Where's my white privilege at?
That's right. Where's my white privilege at?
barely paying my electric bill. I can't even put out facts on Twitter and encourage Black people.
I love that. You know what, Dylan? That's a good one. Where's my white privilege at, Dylan? That's a good one.
Hey, there's a real quote right there. Where's my white privilege at? Might have a new bumper sticker.
I like that one.
Fobs and Swifty.
That's right. I'll put it up on Fobs and Swifty. I definitely will. That's a good
funny.
one.
You know what's interesting too, again, how I think Susan talked about it earlier, Dylan, about the whole idea of rewriting history in terms of liberals. How important is that to address that as well as this whole anti-freedom of speech for conservatives on college campuses?
It's huge. Those who control the past control the future. Those who are writing the history books, you know, and those are the ones being recycled in that information throughout our education system. You know, if that history is wrong or it's not accurate, then we would just repeat history and we keep failing and falling into that vicious cycle. And like an interesting thought is, how are the history writers going to write about President Trump's administration right now? Are they going to be all opinionated, just like we see every journalistic pieces nowadays? It's all opinions or anonymous sources. Or is it going to be factual, objective? The economy did this, Black unemployment, you know, all-time record lows. Are we going to see that, you know? But it's an interesting thought. But yeah, the war is being fought on college campuses right now. It's being fought all over the place.
That's the next generation of voters, and they're trying very desperately. That's all they have. That's all they have is to control your mind, because they cannot win in the arena of ideas when you start comparing liberalism to conservatism and individual freedom versus the collectivism. Individual freedom will win every time it's tried, and they won't vote for the actual liberal principles. That's why liberals have to cloak themselves as very moderate and very loving, touchy-feely, soft. We care about you, and we will take care of you. You know, it's not just caring. It is, I'm now there for you. I'm now, you know, and I'm right there in your pocketbook, and I'll take your money and help you. And so there you go. Then they'll give you free health care, cradle to grave. They just want to make sure you can't be born. And we have to kill you early, because if you start becoming, a little bit inconvenient, we got to give you that shot for your hip. You know, we just got to knock you off there because you're costing us too much.
It's insane. Social media is interesting to think about, because I think it was originally created to keep us sidetracked, docile, not really care about anything, not question anything. And then all of a sudden, truth tellers come up like me and all the there's so many out there, and I don't like to call myself a truth teller or some kind of crazy person who knows everything, but I feel like I'm doing a good job in bringing truth to social media, and a lot of other people are doing the same. And now they're trying to silence us because of that. You know?
Yeah, you're messing with their bread and circus, man.
Yeah, and it's not because I'm offensive; it's because I'm effective.
Right, exactly. I like that.
Hollywood used to have the monopoly on, mainstream, what everyone saw, what everyone heard, all the information. All of a sudden, social media comes up and it levels the playing field out for people like me, no name. If I don't have conservative views, they're not going to put me in Hollywood and mainstream media or news or anything. All of a sudden, I made my grassroots way from the bottom because I was telling the truth, and people connected with that, like, wow. And now that I'm getting up here along with other people, they want to silence us. And now they're over silencing us to the point where their hypocrisy, their bias is showing. The hypocrisy bias is showing, and people are waking up even faster. So things are happening good. Like, there's so much positivity happening right now. Like, it's easy to get trapped into, oh, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. But there's a lot of good as well.
Exactly. What's important about that, my executive director for American Christian Civil Rights Movement, Judy, says that she only sees the negative. And I tell her all the time, I said, look, I can tell you just from my Twitter account, it's not as big as yours, but I know that the retweet and what people see can range anywhere from 20 million to 52 or 53 million a week. So that's what they're reacting to it, and they're actually doing something about it in their own individual ways across the world. And I think that's important. So you're right. And what's interesting too, Dylan, is that Obama said in 2016 during the presidential elections that if he could change anything, he would change social media, because that was one thing that he said that really was being used effectively by conservatives, and he regretted that, as if he had some control over it.
Yeah. No, of course he wanted that gone, because that's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah.
But no, it's good, because like I said, there's so many truth tellers out there that they can't stop us all. And the meme war, there'll be another Dylan Wheeler if they stop me. That's fine. I hope I created 100 of them.
Right.
It'd be awesome.
One of the things I want to ask you too, and this is about your book, because you have a new book called 101 Facts That Convinced Your Liberals Friends to Walk Away. First of all, why did you write the book, and what is it about?
I think it started from people saying, dude, your tweets are so awesome. I cannot believe it. There's just so much logic and truth, and some of the facts you say are mind blowing. They're like, if you ever put a book together of your top tweets compiled, like, I'd buy that for sure. And then I started talking to my friend Tyler Zed, who already was an author of another book. He thought the idea was amazing. So then we kind of compiled over 6 months 101 of the most mind blowing, non-debatable facts out there that if a liberal or someone who's totally brainwashed reads it, go, what? No, that's impossible. It can't be. It just can't be. And then they're so non-debatable that liberal news sources were forced to cover them. So it's like, okay, when they deny it and call it fake news, and they look up the source, straight out of the Huffington Post, straight out of New York Times, straight out of all their liberal sources. So they either have to accept it as the truth or deny or discredit their liberal news sources.
Exactly.
That's what's so brilliant about it. Yep. So that's what your book is, of those 101 best tweets that you have, and it'll convince.
No, it's not my tweets. It's facts that we found. Like, we did a lot of digging to do this. Like, we could not be wrong. If we were wrong on one sentence, one number, one fact, it's the only spotlight our book's going to have. But just like when I make a tweet, I can't have a spelling error in there, because liberals won't pay attention to the content of the message. It'll be all about my spelling mistake.
Right. Then they'll say, well, yeah, you're a college dropout and you can't even spell. Yeah. Why should we listen to you? I get
Literally,
it.
Can't leave the door cracked a hair. You got to shut it, lock it, slam it in their face, basically.
Yeah.
I have a football mentality. I play a lot of sports, so.
Sounds like Smash Mouth football. Smash Mouth politics. That's what you're playing.
Yeah, recently getting into boxing too, so that's kind of fun.
That's good.
Well, cool. I did play football. My father was a boxer, and my brother was the Army boxer 5 years in a row. So that I do have a little bit of experience with and understanding. And it is about, my father said, in terms of boxing, you have to learn to calm in order to unleash the fury.
Yes. See, I need to know those things. I should get in touch with your father.
Yeah,
I've never boxed before.
Well, you got to go to heaven.
That's a long distance call.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll fly out there and you can train me like Rocky.
It's like fly up there.
Yeah, we're up there. Oh yeah, that's right.
It's kind of a one-way ticket for the training, so no.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'll pass the message on.
Thank you.
But what's interesting about that is that, again, the effectiveness that you have, Dylan, and how you actually are reaching across. Now, you also have YouTube too. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yep, me and Tyler Zed, my friend Devin and Daniel, we get together. Right now it's just once a week. We go over, the top topics of the week, and we just get in front of, the camera, and we have a microphone, and we just start having a chat. We'd like to make our YouTube a lot bigger. We actually started a YouTube channel about 9 months ago, 8 or 9 months ago, and we were doing comedy, political comedy. So like there was one where I'm reading hate tweets by liberals that haven't been unreal. And then I have a little commentary afterwards, like, wow, he seems tolerant. And they started blowing up. Like we had 9 videos with 7,000 subscribers already, which was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But we had 2 strikes already because I made a video about David Hogg. I didn't really swear at him or anything like that, and I don't even think I could say it on a Christian podcast like this. But basically said something about how you remind me of Kim Kardashian, except instead of doing what she does, you decided to stand on the graves of your dead classmates in order to become a D-list celebrity. You should be ashamed of yourself. I said that to him. That one started going viral on Twitter, and then YouTube flagged it. And then we were on to 2 strikes already, so we realized 3 strikes are done. Oh, the other one is...
They'll take you off of YouTube.
Yeah, we were close to monetization already through 9 videos. So we knew that if we built that channel up and got it going big, they could flag us for really anything. There goes our channel, there goes all of our hard work or subscribe.
Right.
So we had to start over. But our second video that got suspended was just a funny video. Like, I come in, I'm like, dude, what's up? I got the goods. And I threw a bag on the table and it was Tide Pods. I gotta show you this video sometime, but it's hilarious. Tyler's at me, he's like, dude, he's like, I'm not really feeling good about this anymore, man. Maybe I don't want to do it. I'm like, dude, you have no idea how much I went through to get these. You know, these are expensive. And then he's like, all right, fine, give it to me. And then the next scene is like, he pops it in. I'm like, whoa, dude, you're only supposed to take a drop, not the whole pod. And then he like starts to trip, and then there's a lot of editing into it, and then he goes down this liberal rabbit hole of like just a montage of liberals, like Democrats saying things, and Hillary laughing in an evil laugh, and Obama saying, that business, you didn't build that. And then like, check out mainstream media is like, check out the video of a shot, or this AR or AK-47, and it's a shotgun, and it goes poosh, and a watermelon blows up. It's just, and then some ladies on there going, there are infinite amount of genders, and it's just a trippy montage.
Because of the Tide Pod, he takes a Tide Pod and he goes into some sort of, like
a liberal trip, an acid trip type, where all he sees is crazy liberals saying crazy things, and then he wakes up out of it. I'm like, dude, you all right, man? Like, you almost died. Your heart stopped beating. And he goes, he just wakes up. He's like, I think I'm a liberal. It was the funniest thing I think we've ever made.
Oh my gosh.
And that got banned,
that. Where can we find your YouTube?
Well, we had to delete that channel. That one was educating liberals. Our new one's educating liberals as well, but you'll see a lot of our old videos out there still, which is like a gray box from where they used to be. We still have all of our old videos. We were kind of dropping a few here and there, like the hate tweets. Like Tyler Zed's a really good actor, so we're trying to get into acting too and more political comedy. So after midterms, when we have time to relax a little bit, pretty important comedy and whatnot again.
Well, you know what, Dylan? Actually, my organization, we have a production company.
Really?
But also, actually, I'm heading out to Dallas for a movie and directors and producers conference down there, and I'm on a panel of several other producers. And what we do is we produce. Collectively, not just myself, but we produce Christian everything, from movies to webcasts to television series and so on. Yeah, that too. Actually, we have awards ceremonies on the Friday of that to award in those many categories. So that's something that you might be interested.
I should pitch you one of my short films, or Tyler Zed's short films right now, really quick in a nutshell. So he comes home. He's just all happy, whatnot, and his wife, he sees his wife just kind of sitting there crying. He's like, what's wrong? She's like, I'm pregnant. He's like, wow, it's amazing, blah, blah, blah. Like, he gets so excited, and the next day he goes to work and he asks his boss for a raise. He needs to make more money to take care of his child. He's sitting there, he's doing budgeting. He tells his friends. And then I throw a surprise party for him. It's a montage of the greatest night of his life. And he wakes up in the morning. He's got a bunch of texts from his wife. He goes home. He's still in a great mood, cloud nine. And he sees a piece of paper on the table, and it's got Planned Parenthood at the top. And he starts reading it, and all of a sudden his joy just goes to like, no. And he looks up, and then his pregnant girlfriend goes, my body, my choice. And it ends.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
wow.
A lot more in there. Like, that was just the basic recap.
No, you know what?
That's brilliant.
We're doing that one.
That's for Content 19 next year. That's for Content 19, Kevin.
Yeah. You know what? I can tell you right now that, Dylan, we can talk after the show. Because I want to hook you up, and I just think that's important. Those are the kind of things that and this is a Christian Media Association, so we cover everything. I mean, literally thousands of people around the world. So yeah,
that's awesome.
That's brilliant.
I appreciate you guys for having me on today too.
You're brilliant.
It's awesome. It's an honor.
Well, no, it's our honor to have you on. Because I just think what you're doing for not just young people, but I think for the whole movement itself is wonderful, because you cross so many different areas that you deal with. And I think that's important for just us as conservatives, as Christians, and as people who care about this nation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dylan, you are a creative, conservative Christian, and I salute you. And you are very much like Andrew Breitbart, and I salute you.
Thank you.
I think you're
Thank
wonderful.
you very much.
I'm so honored to have met you.
Awesome. It goes both ways.
You're wonderful.
Well, Dylan, do you have, can you tell our audience how they can, first of all, get your book, and then how can they reach out to you?
So right now it's available on Amazon for ebook pre-sale, and that's to the 27th. And we're also trying to get it on iBook. And then, yeah, the paperbacks come out the 27th, and that should be on Amazon as well. So we gotta expand those outlets a little bit more, but I think it's 9 days until our book drops. So we're really excited for that. I gotta push it as much as we can. Just get the word out there, because one major fact can open somebody's mind, cause them to do a little more research themselves, and ultimately figure out the truth, which can change their life and change their vote and walk away from the Democratic Party.
And the name of your book is 101 Facts That'll Convince Your Liberal Friends to Walk Away.
Yeah. I mean, give it to someone as a birthday present, leave it in the bathroom, Christmas stuffing or stocking stuffer. Just kind of leave it there.
I'm looking at it right now on Amazon, and it's a really clever cover of kind of this cartooned Democrat donkey jackass, right?
Yeah.
With this crazy-eyed look, like, ah! You know,
Yeah.
and all the people walking away from the crazy-eyed Democrat jackass. I love it.
Yeah. And Ben Garrison, if anyone knows who that is, political cartoon, drew that for us.
Who did?
Oh, cool.
Ben Garrison. Yep. He's a really cool guy.
That's a good one.
Well, again, thank you for joining us on American Exceptionalism today. And, we look forward to having you back again, Dylan.
Absolutely. Anytime. I appreciate you guys having me.
Oh, and again, this is something I think that most people, when you think about what Dylan is talking about and what we're talking about on the show, is exceptionalism. Dylan's a great example of what exceptionalism is and what it is in America. And so we want to, again, salute you, Dylan, for everything that you do.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys. God bless.
God bless you,
America.
and God bless America.